or 9. Should you organize some formal or informal meetup after dinner, please feel free to let us know. We can make announcements on your behalf. We're also at some point in time today or tomorrow, just to make sure we are committed to taking care of our health, both physical and mental. We'll probably run a few exercises, breathing, yoga, etc., through one of our colleagues at YY Venture. We'll make sure that everyone is rejuvenated and continues with the spirit with which it. I'll now move on to the official proceedings. The next session is indeed an exciting one and definitely one of the highlights of Social Business Day 2023. This session will offer insights into the diverse and notable social businesses or social business support organizations around the globe, titled Glimpses of Social Business, Enabling Collaborative Ecosystems for Social Business for a New Economy. Guiding us through this session is our esteemed moderator, Professor Abdul Hannan Chaudhry, the current professor and former dean of the School of Business at North-South University. Prior to this, Professor Chaudhry held esteemed positions such as being the Vice Chancellor of Prime Asia University and the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Eastern University. He's lectured across the globe in various renowned universities such as in University of Windsor in Canada and Northeastern University in the USA. His participation and contributions to Social Business Academia, Social Business Day, and various global social business summits shows his testament and commitment to the cause. Professor Abdul Hannan Chaudhry will be introducing each speakers by this order, and the presenters that we have today are Ms. Monica Yunus, Co-Founding Director, Sing for Hope. Dr. Lokman Hakim Osman, Associate Professor, Faculty of Economy and Management, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. We also got Ms. Nazreen Sultana, Executive Vice Chairman, Grameen Communications. We've got Shiori Onishi, Co-CEO of Grameen Euglena. Caleb McKenzie, our good friend who's the Managing Director of Yunus, Thailand. Another good friend, Juno Wang, the CEO, Foundation for Yunus Social Business in Taiwan. And of course, none other than Maria Palmieri, the Managing Partner at the Grameen Creative Lab. We've got our very own Shihab Kader, Head of International Projects. And of course, our friend from Africa, Daniel Aybare, the founder of iAfrica Foundation. Each of these speakers will be called on stage by Professor Chaudhry in the order. However, we must let everyone know to facilitate the timing and to help everyone and respect each other's contributions for this session. Our dear friend, the bell and Mr. Timer will be in play. Without further ado, let us begin our journey into the world of social businesses. Over to you, Professor Chaudhry. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this momentous session titled Enabling Collaborative Ecosystem for Social Business in a New Economy. It is with a great pleasure that I have the opportunity to let us begin fragility and vulnerability. From the presence of over 30 ongoing conflicts encompassing drug wars, terrorist insurgencies, ethnic clashes, and civil wars. These conflicts have significant implications on global economy, stability in international markets. Moreover, the recent pandemic has underscored the fragility of our global systems. We cannot return deep and drastic changes. The capitalist approach prioritizing profits of people's society has been exposed as economic pandemic lead to economic fallout, exacerbate concentration and deprivation. Issues such as climate changes, growing and failing economics necessitate a fundamental shift in our current models of development. This is where Professor Yunus called for sowing the seeds of economy gains relevance. Today, in this STEAM session, our distinguished panelists will focus on collaborative ecosystem for social business. Such ecosystems demand a shared vision around creating positive social change and commitment to shared values, including sustainability, ethical practices, and social responsibility. By fostering collaboration and cooperation among various stakeholders, we can lay the foundation of a more resilient and inclusive economy that addresses the pressing challenges of our time. Let us engage this session with open mind and a determination to explore innovative ways to build a better future where social business a transformative role in creating a positive impact on society and the world at large. Together, we can sow the seeds for a new economy that thrives on shared values and collective well-being. First, we are graced with the presence of Ms. Monica Yunus, co-founding director, Sing for Hope, a catalyst of social business movement. She is engaged with more than 200 society. Monica Yunus on the dais. All right.
Well, hello, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful lunch, and thank you for coming back. And I'd like to just extend my sincere gratitude and beauty to the people of Langkawi, Malaysia, and to AIU who have welcomed us with open arms. Thank you so much. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Sing for Hope in quick vignettes. Sing for Hope harnesses the power of the arts to create a better world. We partner with individuals and communities to create dynamic arts, hope, healing, and connections, schools, care facilities, refugee camps, and public spaces worldwide. Direct a cultural workforce, create positive and lasting change. At Sing for Hope, we align our mission with 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals specifically: good health and well-being, quality education, sustainable cities and communities, and partnerships for the goals. There is no peace without collaboration and a commitment to creating new pathways for transformation. And I can think of no better way to do so than through the common language of the arts, a unifying force that brings us together and fosters empathy and well-being, in addition to much needed inspiration. And as our social business tenets say, do it with joy. Today, in my brief time, I wanted to highlight 3 short videos that showcase the work of Sing for Hope. Like many of you in the room, our work during COVID was severely curtailed, and we had to seek new paths to continue our work. If you would kindly please cue up our 60 Seconds of Hope video. Thank you.
Sing for Hope brings the power of the arts to those who need it most. And today, that is all of us. The pandemic has brought loneliness front and center, and so many are unable to connect with anyone. So we are reaching out to them. And we're supporting our community of Broadway stars, Grammy winners, and artists from the world's great stages at a time when the industry is 95% dark. Now more than ever, your contribution means everything to Sing for Hope and the artists and communities we serve.
At Sing for Hope, we work with amplifying the youth voice through the arts. We have a curriculum exploring the Sustainable Development Goals through the arts. Just last week, our 70-person Sing for Hope Honda Harmony Youth Group closed the high-level political at the United Nations with an original song called United. The music was written by 15-year-old Iggy Rosales and lyrics by Ava Brilla. The lyrics I wanted to share with all of you as a point of inspiration to hear the voice of a 15-year-old. Imagine a world where there is good health for us all. If we unite for equality, we wouldn't have to feel small. The earth is our home. It needs care. We'll work together to always be there. In harmony, we can be free. If we use melody, together we stand tall. Side by side, we will not fail. Unite. Live as one. We've set the goals as long as we are making change, working hard and being bold, our future will be bright. Please cue our UN high-level video to share a little bit of music today.
To always be there. In harmony, we could be free. If we use melody, together we will stand. And let us sing for all. Side by side we will not fall. Unite, live as one. We set the goals as long as we are making change. Working hard and being bold. Our future will be bright. No matter how tall the mountain, the power to climb it is within. In harmony, we can make history. If we use melody, together we will stand. And let us sing for all. Side by side we will not fall. Unite, live as one. We set the goals as long as we are making change. Working hard and being bold. Our future will be.
So proud of them. 70 youth in our United Nations, where sometimes it's not the place where you see a lot of children, but hearing their voices there was an inspiration. Keeping in mind our short time, I wanted to share one last video that showcases our flagship program, the Sing for Hope pianos. This program is one in which we reuse pianos, engage artists who design and paint them, put them in public spaces for performances, and then, after their time, we place them in their forever homes and elder communities. To date, we've placed over 600 Sing for Hope pianos globally. We have worked with numerous municipalities, most recently New Orleans, Louisiana in the United States, as well as the city of Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, California. This video highlights our collaborative work with the city of Beverly Hills to bring youth engagement, music, social cohesion, and belonging through the Sing for Hope Pianos project. If you'd kindly cue up the Sing for Hope Pianos kickoff event video. I look forward to connecting with all of you, and I hope you'll follow us on Instagram, and I hope to connect with you here in person. On Instagram, we're at Sing for Hope. Thank you.
Sing for Hope Pianos joined up with the Wallace to make this program a reality. Absolutely beautiful location for this. 16 pianos that after tonight, will be placed at around Beverly Hills for 30 days. It's going to be an opportunity for the community to come together, to play the pianos, to sing along to the pianos, to liven our street life.
We are so proud to have Sing for Hope here because this is exactly what we wanted, which was about celebrating arts, culture, diversity, inclusivity.
I see a red door and I want to paint it black. No color anymore, I want it to turn black.
The performances tonight were absolutely amazing, and they were using the pianos that had been individually decorated by artists from throughout the Los Angeles.
I painted one of the pianos, and my artwork is called Spread Your Wings. It was about a 3-week process. My concept is the California hummingbird because it represents to me peace, love, and freedom, and spread your wings. I want all the kids to spread their wings. I think art can teach you so much. Not only is it peaceful and an outlet, I think it's a way of expressing yourself. And I think it's just really a rescue for youth.
If I ever lose you, dear, I would want you to know.
The pianos are going to be donated to Forever Homes at schools, at other community organizations.
I'm starting a choir so we can all be singing around the choir. I'm going to be teaching piano keyboard so they will actually have a live piano to learn their lessons from, which will be fantastic and wonderful. And just having it in general for music theory, for note reading, etc. I think the whole project is fantastic.
Sing for Hope Art for All Award is a renowned actress, activist, and creator.
Monique Coleman.
Art is for your soul. Art is for you. Everything doesn't have to be shared to count and to matter because you matter.
It was an amazing turnout tonight. So many people here, and you could tell that the audience was totally swept up by the performances here tonight. The performances here tonight were just absolutely amazing. There are so many people to thank for it. So many commissioners, there was city staff, fellow city council members for supporting this project. But it all culminated in really what was an absolutely fabulous event tonight.
Looking forward to hearing from my colleagues today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Monica, but we just can't leave the stage yet. We cannot have a incredibly famous soprano and not hear her sing. So we decided to put her a bit on spot. Wait a sec, we may not have the setup right now to hear her sing live. However, we kindly requested if we may, she gives us the permission to share one of her performances, which was the Ripple of Hope Award, which Professor Mohammed Yunus was awarded at the New York City. And Monica has performed at that event, and we wanted to share that video. We just cannot let her go without hearing her sing. If not live, at least recorded. Can we please play the video?
We are lucky to be joined tonight by a special guest who is particularly special to our honoree, Mohammed Yunus. His daughter, Juilliard-trained soprano, Monica Yunus. Monica's performed in concert and operatic stages all over the world and is the co-founding director of Sing for Hope, one of the country's leading nonprofit organizations dedicated to positive social change. Her Sing for Hope project brought 88 colorfully painted pianos to public spaces across New York's 5 boroughs. Now please welcome her as she pays tribute to her father.
I'm delighted to be here with all of you this evening. If there's one thing that my dad has taught me, it's to never stop and to always keep going and to fight for your dreams. And that is exactly what he has done with his life. For him tonight, I sing, "You'll Never Walk Alone." When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid.
Thank you, Monica Yunus. Thank you very much. Next, we have Dr. Lokman Hakim Usman, Associate Professor, Faculty of Economy and Management, University of Kebangsaan. Dr. Usman is an experienced economist. Experienced in academia who understands the importance of empowering individuals to effectively participate in the new economy. Dr. Usman will on education and skill development that will enable sustainable ecosystem for social business. Dr. Usman.
Professor Yunus, team guest. I can add that from Monica. I was asking her just now if she could, sing some songs for us. And she just flew 32 hours from the United States. So, but yeah, I'm still lucky we were able to listen to the videos. But, we still have like 2 days to go. Maybe we probably going to have a chance to listen to her singing live, one of her favorite songs. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is, and today I'm going to be discussing the enabler for collaborative ecosystem for social business in the economy. Now, I'm an academia by profession. I wasn't in academia first. I was in the military before I joined the world of academia. So a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking today is mainly referred to the work that we've done together with our partners. This work is actually looking from a micro perspective of what are the enablers for collaborative ecosystems for social delivery organizations such as social businesses to flourish within an economy. We always mention about system. We talk about system all the time. We talk about what we embark on these studies. There are 17 economies. These studies was actually led by CAPS Asia. Yunus Social Business Center. We were asked by to data for the merchant economy for this. So 2022. We just finished collecting data for 2024. Enable, what are this ecosystem? But we have a system as sum of its parts. We cannot build things in its own identity. It has to be, because it's a system. It's a big system. Social business has a system. Our social business system has Prof. Yunus at the center, the core of the systems. All the Yunus centers surrounding the Yunus Center Dhaka are part of the component that exists in the systems. Okay, so we try to understand, in this case, what are the enablers to encourage, to have collaborative ecosystems for social delivery organizations to establish. Okay, data was for 2022 because 2024 hasn't been published yet. So from CAPS Asia, so STAT took over 17 economies, including some of the countries include Singapore, Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, Nepal. Is that too loud? Yeah, I'm not going to sing, don't worry. Looking at these 17 economies, we try to look at what is the system allow for this collaborative system to exist and allow for the social businesses, social delivery organizations to flourish within that economy. So we're looking at 17 economies, and we found that four what we call concepts or construct can allow for this collaborative ecosystem to flourish. Number one is regulation itself. So across all 17 economies, we see a different type of regulations. Singapore has its own regulation, Malaysia has its own regulation, Indonesia has its own unique regulation, Bangladesh, India, They all has its unique regulation that supports businesses, okay? But somehow this regulation differs from one to another. So we were able to identify these 17 economies to 3 types of performance: doing well, doing excellent, doing well, and doing good. Okay, and based on that classification, we identify first through regulation is the efficiency of regulation. This is as simple as when we talk about efficiency. This is as simple as for you to register or to as entities within that particular economy. You'll be surprised. Across 17 economies, the speed of establishment can vary from 2 weeks, okay, 2 weeks to 2 days, okay. And then we also have concept such as tax and fiscal policy. Again, okay, some economies, such as Singapore, the tax and fiscal policy is very supportive for social delivery organizations such as social businesses, okay, and it allows them to flourish. Okay, so this particular element is important to allow for social businesses to flourish and to close themselves. Third is the ecosystem itself. And the ecosystem, a lot of it, I just want to share one thing, is about public perceptions. Trust, the issue of trust. Believe it or not, in some economy, the trust deficit upon social delivery organizations, social businesses, is quite low. But during the pandemic, the trust level increases extremely. Okay, so public perceptions and the ecosystem is key. And last but not least, procurement itself. Okay, some social businesses, social delivery organization, okay, they deal with they operate and compete like other businesses. But again, the issue of ecosystem level of perceptions affect what we call the procurement process that they experience. Okay, that's my cue. Okay, I have a lot of data to share. If any of you from one of the 17 economies can come, and we can have a sit down, a chat, and discuss what we found out explicitly for that particular economy. All right, thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Next, we have our own Miss Nazneen Sultana, Executive Vice Chairman, Grameen Communications, a distinguished expert in the intersection of technology and social innovation. With a keen understanding of how technology can drive positive change, Ms. Nazneen Sultana has been at the forefront of harnessing innovation for social good. Nazneen Sultana, please.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. And today, and before me, there's the theory we have planned. And from the morning, we are hearing about the human civilization. So our human civilization is in serious crisis. We already heard these things. And main cause is the profit motive of business, wealth concentration, and unprecedented inequality in wealth and income. And last, artificial intelligence are taking the world into a serious crisis. So as Professor Yunus says, that this civilization, if you build a new civilization, then only the social business, by creating a social business, we can rescue the world from this crisis. So I'm here, I'm a practitioner, I'm not the theoretician and not the, so I involved from the very beginning with in Grameen Communications with the formation of some social business. In back 2010, we have one research project with the collaboration with the Kyushu University. In that project, in 2010, Sataki-san visited our project and she came with an idea that cultivation of the moong dal in Bangladesh for Japan export. So this, after discussion, and it is almost in 2012, we have the first social business called the Gramin Euglena. This company is giving the unique service to the society and economy of the Bangladesh. It works in the very remote coastal area, southern part of the Bangladesh, where cultivation is almost impossible due to the salinity. And the method of cultivation of the Gramin Euglena is highly productive. We produced a pulse, and special pulse is a protein, more protein is there, and locally we call it the moong dal. So I'm not actually go details of this Euglena because other partner Shiori, my colleague Shiori, he will explain more. So I am only one part, this Euglena Corporation, to mitigate the malnutrition problem in the children. Euglena giving the service to the by the Genki program, distributing nutritious biscuits in the underprivileged slum school-going students. On an average, they have the 93 school, and on an average per day, 10,000 biscuits they are distributing in these schools, which are located in a slum area. This is the packet of the biscuits, and 6 biscuits inside, and for 1 meal in the school. So this is the Gramin Euglena. Here is some pictures here, and all of the products. This is in Professor Yunus's hand, biscuits and moong dal, and these biscuits. Another joint venture involved with this. This is Japan Sunpower Auto Limited, a joint venture social business company of Japan and Bangladesh. These two organization is in collaboration with the Japan. Professor Yunus in 2017 met with the Kawamura-san, World Recycle Parts Association, and they conducted a market survey jointly with us, Gramin Communications, in May 17. And May 17, social business day, they signed the MOU, and finally, joint venture operation started in 2018. Mainly, the main objective is the establish an automobile company, mainly in our country, would get the original, genuine spare parts. Main first objective is that, and finally, we open a workshop. And by this, we create some impact. One impact is technology transfer from Japan to Bangladesh, job opportunity for the young automobile engineers, and at the same time, new entrepreneurs development through an automobile sector, and friendly workshop. And another is the Young Entrepreneur Program. It's a social business. Main basic is Professor Yunus's 3-0. Zero unemployment by turning every human into an entrepreneur. According to Professor Yunus, every human being is born entrepreneur. System compels most of them to work for entrepreneurship program. Now, these 3 companies, the Gramin Trust, Telecom Trust, and the Gramin Shakti Samajik Vyapar. Today, we have, by 3 of the total, 107,000 young USD. And Grameen communications from our side, we digitize whole the system, and the day one system is a complete system. This is a very beautiful system. We monitor all the, next slide. We monitor all the entrepreneur, 127,000 and people by daily SMS. For this, we can understand what they are doing, where they are, and what is their business. Their business is at risk or not. Next. Next. And here are some slides that operation in different categories. The women and male ratio is close to, in this place, it is very close, 53, 47%, 47% women. And next, just move. We developed to build the ecosystem for the social business and to disseminate the social business. We create a platform, online platform, social business pedia. I don't want to make more because all know this is station and all the activities are done from the here. This is actually the online platform for the resource center. It's work as a resource center. If you want to do anything, if you want to know the business, if you want to see the previous story, if you want to know the other people what is doing, all are thesis. And one thing that you heard about the 30 clubs, we are from the Speedia, who helps to do the 30 clubs also. I think that's all. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Ms. Nazneen. May I now call upon Ms. Shorishi, co-CEO Grameen Yoga. Ms. Shori is responsible for developing social business on agriculture and nutrition in the country. She was engaged in rural finance, microfinance, and also infrastructure projects. Ms. Shori. Yes.
Thank you very much for inviting me to speak at this important session. I'm Shiori Onishi, co-CEO of Grameen Yugrena. Today, I want to share one example of collaboration efforts on agriculture social business in Bangladesh. So as Nazneen Madam explained, our mission is to create social business, achieving farmers' income growth by mungo bean export to Japan. The background is that we cannot grow mungo beans in Japan at all. And we are fully dependent on import, especially from China and Myanmar. So high dependency on specific countries may face a risk of stable food supply. We make sprouts from mungo bean, so we may lose sprouts from our daily meal. So that is a huge risk for Japan. So our idea is to link with rural farmers in Bangladesh and create win-win benefits between Japan and Bangladesh and contributing to food supply, stable and reasonable food supply for Japanese sprouts markets. We work in Potokari area in southern part of Bangladesh with 6,500 farmers this year. And we have been able to export more than 1,000 metric tons since 10 years ago. Through that engagement, I'd like to share one significant partnership collaboration model with WFP. This was done by donation grant by Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Japan. And WFP got a grant. A part of that grant was given to Yugrena Group. And with that grant, we created local supply, local production model to give mungo dal to Rohingya refugees camp in Cox's Bazar. So I think this is a very good model to link with local farmers, Rohingya refugees to solve one social problem with supplementing roles with public sector and private sector. So we believe the collaboration is key for success of social business. By experience, we feel that private sector always needs to play a key role to establish an ecosystem for social business collaboration model. We have a strength in linking to the international market and also understanding the role of each stakeholder and establish a framework of linking each stakeholder is really a key. And I believe private sector has that key role. And of course, international organization, local government, Japanese government, research institute, university, bank, and investors, we have lots of collaboration. But in our case of Grameen Ugrena, Japanese government is always playing a key role. Whenever we have a problem of getting some dialogues with local government or getting permission or getting funding for feasibility study, always Japanese government plays a key role. So finding out a key partner is in establishing social business is very, very important. Now we are still tackling new challenges, especially in the field. We are observing price hikes of rural farmers. They are lacking cash flows to get enough funding for their cultivation. Also, this year, we particularly faced climate change. Due to the drought, we did not get enough amount of mung bean. So climate challenge is also faced by farmers. So having a good investment in farmers and infrastructure, especially machinery upgrades, also processing upgrades, these are the key challenges we are facing right now. And more importantly, data access by the farmers is very much key. So we are now working on different researchers to get updated forecast data system for farmers. Also, integration of the apps for farmers. These are the areas we are currently working on. So we are still having lots of areas to work. But I hope we can give you some good example of social business, especially on agriculture, and how we create a collaboration in rural area in Bangladesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shuri. May I now call upon Mr. Kalam of Yunus, Thailand, and managing partner of Grameen Options. Kalam has diverse range of experience over working in the social business and also international development sector. Please come on the dais.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, and can we have a big round of applause, please, for the Thai team as well? Yeah, fantastic. So, enabling collaborative ecosystems as well, what we'll talk about today. So, just to quickly explain what Yunus Thailand does. So, really, our job is to increase the number of financially sustainable and impactful social businesses in Thailand and also in Southeast Asia. Because I think what unites us all in this room, because we want to transform capitalism away from just profit maximization. And why do we exist? Really, because we recognize we're in the middle of an inequality crisis, also a climate crisis, and we believe that social business can be the key to creating this world of 3 zeros. So how do we do this? Well, we engage and educate people in social business. We support social entrepreneurs. We also are developing social businesses ourselves as subsidiaries of the foundation, and also trying to be this thought leader to strengthen the ecosystem in Thailand and also to stimulate demand for social business. So you can kind of put our work into these 4 buckets. And just some of the numbers from last year as well, a few more grey hairs since the last Social Business Day. But you can kind of put our work into these different buckets. You kind of got education, you've got training and workshops and incubation. You also have access to finance as well, and also policy work, and actually research and academia kind of impact as well. And just to jump into a couple of examples of what we're kind of up to in Thailand as well. The first one is really working on the circular economy. And we've developed these 19 different educational packages from kindergarten all the way up to university and startup level to try and create a generation of zero waste activists. And at the same time, we're working in supply chains in the recycling industry to empower informal waste workers to make sure we have an inclusive circular economy. And when it comes down to collaboration, we're both partnering with the private sector on one side, with one of the world's leading recycling companies. But on the other side, these educational packages, we've had YSBCs within the Yunus network itself, advisors and guiders and collaborate with us to make sure that what we're doing actually has an educational impact. So again, really trying to collaborate amongst the Yunus family. Then we also try to kind of be a convener of social business in Thailand as well. So here's some photos from some of our activities as well. So we have bi-monthly meetups of the social business community. We also have a 9-month incubation program for social businesses. And we also work on social procurement as well to kind of open up different markets for social businesses so that we can help generate revenue and expand their impact. And in terms of collaboration, we work with the UN system, with SEED, where we're the SEED hub in Thailand. We also collaborate with Yunus Social Business on social procurement, with Impact Hub as well in terms of convening communities. And of course, we've got our Impact Hub Dhaka friends with us today as well. And also with Thomson Reuters Foundation to provide free legal advice for social entrepreneurs in Thailand. Another area which is really kind of interesting, which we're working on, is how we can develop social businesses and inspire micro-entrepreneurship in the deep south of Thailand, superficially around seaweed. As seaweed is a high-value, high-growth kind of sector. Also has big climate benefits. Also is a superfood, so it brings this food security angle as well. And we've developed a micro-franchise model. So for around $200, somebody can become a seaweed entrepreneur, and with a break-even point between 3 to 6 months as well. So we've been working with women entrepreneurs in the Deep South, helping them to become these seaweed entrepreneurs, also working with local government, and also kind of taking a citizen science approach as well to make sure cultivation is at the highest level. And of course, we've been collaborating with different partners as well, both academia in the UK, in Thailand, to top marine science experts working with us, also with the Canadian government, and we're a member of the Global Seaweed Coalition as well. So this kind of interdisciplinary collaboration and partnership too. And a final example as well, where we've been working to develop the Yunus Professional Masters Program. So Yunus Thailand and the Yunus Center at the Asian Institute of Technology first kind of kicked off this collaboration under the guidance of Professor Yunus and Yunus Center to make sure we have this practical master's degree program. And then now we've also been collaborating with Albukhary University as well and providing what a small help here and there as well in terms of making sure that we've got this fantastic master's degree program in Malaysia now as well. And of course, we're going to have an exciting announcement soon with a new university in Thailand. And of course, some of these key partners that we're really collaborating with here as well. So I think we've talked about kind of the need for systems change, and we've also heard about competition and collaboration. So I'd really like to take this opportunity to say, let's compete as a network to be as collaborative as possible. So in Yunus, Thailand, you have a friend in this country, you have a friend in Southeast Asia, whether you want to collaborate on sports, on environment, on academia, on entrepreneurship support. We have networks, we have expertise, we have a team here to partner with you. So please reach out, please partner with us, and let's have a really collaborative social business family together.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Our next presenter is Ms. Juno Wang, CEO of Foundation for Yunus Social Business Taiwan. Her relentless dedication drives positive change in both business and social realms. Ms. Juno Wang.
Hi, everyone. I'm Juno Wang, the CEO of Yunus Social Business Foundation Taiwan. Happy to meet you all in this family day. For a year, our foundation has focused on promoting social business and supporting young people today. Today, I want to share how we build partnership for the next generation. As you can see from this picture, how we started. YSBC provided us with a great opportunity to meet young people and motivate them to take action. After that, we offer them startup resources for building networks. And of course, the 3 Little Club platform help them connect and share ideas with the world. This is what Taiwan looks like. And as you can see, we have successfully set up 13 YSBCs in the past 8 years. Last year, Zhili University joined the YSBC family, and they also joined the Social Business Day with us this day. The Dean of Business Management College of Zhili University, Professor Liu, serves as the director of the YSBC Zhili University. Professor Liu, would you please lead your team to web and say hello? Thank you. We are grateful for the superhero who sponsored this new YSBC University. Is our beloved former Prime Minister of Taiwan, Professor Zhi Guo. He is also here to support today's convention. Professor Mao, it will be an honor you standing up to let us know where you are. Thank you. Every year, we reunion all YSBC members together to share our progress in promoting social business and expand way for them to work together in the future. Yunus Camp is a new project we started this year. We invited students to spend 3 days in the mountains where we teach them how to change the world by forming 3 little clubs and creating social business in the future. The Taiwan Yunus Social Business Innovation Award is a startup competition we host every year. More than ever, we have got numerous participating teams this year. They have far exceeded 100, reaching 121, sharing their innovative proposals. We offered mentors and learning resources to support the team, which greatly helped them in understanding how to start a social business. Most importantly, they all have learned who to turn to for when needed. This is the photo we took last year. They are the winners of the Taiwan Yunus Social Business Innovation Award. Some of these teams have now become highly successful social business. We offer various running courses such as design thinking workshop, podcasting, public speaking, and guidance on how to find funding to support your ideas. We are planning to hold the 3rd Social Business Asian Conference next January. Professor Yunus attended the previous two conferences in 2016 and 2019. We look forward to having Professor Yunus join us next year to inspire us, including the next generation. And of course, we are looking forward to seeing you all next year as well. Do welcome you all to Taiwan. Taiwan is a very beautiful island and country. We have magnificent scenery, amazing food, and wonderful people. Hope see you in Taiwan. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Yunus. We will follow your direction to change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wang. Thank you. Thank you very much. May I now call Ms. Maria Palmieri, Managing Partner, Grameen Creative Lab, a trailblazer in sustainable development and ethical practices. As a change maker, Maria has been instrumental in advocating social business movement for responsible business models that prioritize societal well-being through 30 goals. Maria, welcome.
Hello, 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 everyone. So nice to be here. My first time at Social Business Day physically, so feeling the vibes from, this part of the world. It's a very, very pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for all the amazing stories we heard today. Here in representation of our Johan's Rights, who unfortunately missed for the first time Social Business Day and couldn't be here, but is sending all of his warm greetings to everybody here. The Grameen Creative Lab. So those who know it, you might know the Global Social Business Summit, the other event that takes place in November, usually in Europe or other parts of the world. For those who maybe don't know it, don't think it's the social business agency or creative agency. We're a lab, and what we really on is the power of creativity and community to really foster an ecosystem. We like to think to be like the IDEO or the creative powerhouse of in social business. So we are an innovative and creative consultancy to accelerate social business. And we start from a vision really that Professor Yunus always says. Of course, we tend to think today we have a power of technology and human beings can be even more powerful, but everything started that every human being has a limited creativity. So, and can be entrepreneurs. So we really try to tackle that aspect in what we do and envision a world where everybody can be an entrepreneur towards a world of 3.0. And our mission is to empower this ecosystem, and we're going to tell you briefly how. By leading by example, to enact, educate, and create. These are our three main pillars. We start with these moments like this. For us, are also fundamental to really help the Yunus Center in driving the community and connecting more the community at a global level as well. So the Global Social Business Summit is one of the events. We have regional also forums and community building moments that we have. We were in East Africa in Nairobi. In May, we have new programs starting at global and regional level, together with the Yunus Center, Yunus Social Business, Yunus Environment Hub, Yunus Sports Hub, and many other global organizations within the ecosystem. We are a lab, so we experiment. Not that we experiment with human beings, it sounds a bit wrong, but we really train with new methodologies on social business, trying to see the new trends that are out there. How can we leverage on those new trends to really foster entrepreneurship and social business entrepreneurship at various levels. And finally, and then we have acceleration programs, which are really tailor-made. I'm going to say a little bit more about them later on, where we really try to go deep with work different organizations, companies, how them transform into social business models. We work with universities as well. We work with global organizations on global programs. This is, of course, how we like to represent the work that we do as we as society, like the amount really of organizations that are coming around. All this movement is not just entrepreneurs, academia, but it's really also companies doing joint ventures. So we always represent the ecosystem a bit, colorful. We're going to make it a bit more colorful, more rainbow, rather than just blue. Just a bit more about our programs. Community is very important, so we will always have a community aspect in all the programs that we launch. But then at the same time, we have a very tailor-made aspect. So we tackle the needs of entrepreneurs in our programs really deeply, really focusing on how to understanding really well the problem with system thinking, and then does your purpose connect to that problem, and then what needs exactly do you have, and then we connect them with the community. And of course, we focusing on the impact and analyzing the problem since the beginning, but then creativity, growth hacking techniques in order to really solve that problem, and monitoring the impact when measuring the impact that is happening on that problem with social business. I just gave you a very brief glimpse into what we do. Feel free to connect me. I'm gonna wear light blue to tomorrow so that you always see me. And you can scan here to leave us your contacts and connect with us. Those are my contacts, and through these wonderful days here in Langkawi, and have a wonderful continued sessions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I now call Mr. Shihab Kadir, Head International Projects of Yunus Center. Mr. Kadir helps us with strategy design and their executions at all stages of the life cycle. He is handling a portfolio of international projects at the Yunus Center. Mr. Shihab Kadir.
Thank you so much. Malaysia boleh. Kita boleh. You boleh. All right, it worked. Thank you very much. I'll be very short, probably the first person to complete on time, because you all know what Yunus Center is, and we're headed by the Nobel laureate himself. And thanks to the leadership of Lamia Morshed, we have amassed around 105 universities, just like you, across more than 39 countries. I'll just give you two brief examples. One is Colombia, and another one is East Africa. We have been in Colombia for more than 5 years now, Yunus Center, with our partners, with our universities. Professor Yunus went there, I think in November. And when we started speaking, and my audience was much bigger than this. There were more than 800 to 900 students. And English was their first language to begin with. And when he talked, he also brought in laureate President Santos, who was the defense minister back then, before he became the president. And they talked about peace, how to use social business for peace. And when this theme was announced a couple of months back, I think in early February, right, Lamiapa? War, peace, and economics. All the students at our YSBC Extenado said that we want to do something, Jose. We want to do something. How can we affiliate with this? And we have a present for you, sir. The sir was always talking that we have war ministries everywhere, but you have a peace ministry. But this is a start. On behalf of the University of Externado, they are making a center for peace. The University of Externado, which is our YSBC, they are making a student-led center for peace, where they would use social business as a decorum, as a force for peace. So big round of applause for our YSBC there. And we engage with the youth. Everywhere you go, Professor Yunus says that how to engage with the youth, because if you want to change capitalism, if you want to build a new system, you should start early, start with the young ones. We have the fiction challenge, which you will hear tomorrow. We have the design competitions, where 1,600 participants globally signed up with us across 40 plus nations. And similarly, in that manner, we moved to East Africa as well. And East Africa, it wasn't easy. Never worked there. But in a very small amount of time, academic, with Lamia Appa's guidance and Professor Yunus' guidance, we went to Uganda, we went to Rwanda, we went to Tanzania, we went to Zimbabwe, we went to, who am I missing? Kenya, of course, Robert's nation. And the love that we got, the response that we got was massive. They always pleaded us to bring the Nobel laureate to them. And when Professor Yunus came, there were more than 300 students there in a packed auditorium just like this, and they were really eager. And one thing that we did was, similarly to in Colombia, before Yunus Center went there wasn't any hardcore primary authentic research, academic research on social business. And we helped start that with the YSBCs. Nadia, if I can have the slide, please. In Colombia, when hardly now, at least 5 very hardcore, authentic academic research papers are going on social business and microcredit. This is our new project, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you are not from East Africa, you can apply for a research grant, you can apply for technical assistance. Professor Cam Donaldson, who heads the research institute at Glasgow Caledonian University, he will be there to guide you with his team. It's a fantastic opportunity. hasn't been happened in the social business universe for a long time. This is the first time that we're doing it. And we are looking out at students, master students, PhD students, whoever is there willing to learn more about social business, please apply. You can follow us on Facebook, on social media, and anywhere else. And looking forward to your applications. Am I on time? All right, perfect. So last but not the least, with my signature goodbye, Khuda. Malaysia, bye!
Thank you, Shiab. Thank you. Finally, the last presenter of this session, Mr. Daniel Ibere, founder, AYE Africa Foundation. He is an inspiring figure in the field of social responsibility and community empowerment. Mr. Ibere, his dedication to fostering collaborative has led to transforming initiatives that addressing social changes. Mr. Ibere.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Ayebari. I come from a beautiful country called Uganda. We do share a common history with Malaysia because we all were under the British at some point. And there's a prominent figure who came to Uganda. You must know him. It's called Winston Churchill. Came in 1907 and visited the country. He said, this by far is the pearl of Africa. It's so beautiful in the flora and fauna. It's so beautiful. The people are so wonderful. And so the first lesson for you today is that if you want to be prime minister, please visit Uganda, and then all will be well. The time he came in Uganda, we were about a population of 5 million people, and today things have changed. I have a feeling he would be a bit disappointed to see the changes that have happened. Climate change is real. We've talked about this day. I'm not going to repeat that, but we're facing it. The population has increased unplanned because of the system that we've been talking about. And now the enemy is no longer the people who came and took over because they left us with a system that we need to deal with. So today's topic couldn't be more relevant today. People go to war for economic reasons. They then go try to have peace, and then again go back to make sure they conquer more people and feel safe and also become more economically. So it's just a cycle. And indeed, this is the right place to break it down. We always have a stereotype that, and I mean, this is what the people who share the news do want to share. We don't share news, but there's a stereotype that in developing countries, people are lazy and people are not creative. This is a stereotype that Professor was dealing with in Bangladesh. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are very innovative people. We are very wise people. We just need the right systems, and we have to work with you to create the right systems. I'll be showing you a video of a project that we did with the Yunus Center last year, one year, and you'll see how the young people in remote areas have come up with ideas that need to be developed. My call is, and my responsibility today is to make as many networks as possible so that to create that exposure. We don't actually have to be innovative. Solutions have already been done elsewhere. It's just to show them how they've been, and then we can start from there. So please play that short video, then I'll wrap it up. Thank you.
If we imagine today what kind of world we want, and that's the world will be created.
This project is a social business project where we're trying to leverage the concept of social business in empowering our young people. This program has been run for the last 13 months and has been targeting educational institutions, community-based organizations, and to be specific, secondary schools and universities. We're looking at how we can empower youths both in school and out of school to be able to turn their situations, their dire situations into opportunity to create value.
At Gulu University, we tell these young people that solve the problem and the dollars will come. Don't start complaining that you don't have the money. Go out to the community, identify a problem, solve it, then the money will come.
So that's why it's called Ebizibu Bugaga. Instead of looking at problems, Ebizibu means problems. Instead of looking at problems and shunning away from them and seeking to give the responsibility to other people, we look at them as an opportunity for us as young people to provide solutions that will not only help the society within which we live in, but will add value not only to ourselves, but to also to the young people and other members of society.
We want to establish a demonstration center, in fact a demonstration farm, where we train farmers on hands-on skills, and also we provide them with high quality seeds, then we link them to high input soaps, and also we can also look for market for their products.
We are ASPO Katanga, and our project is all about recycling and managing waste. We are making sure that waste is not wasted. That is our slogan, waste not for waste. What we have in plan is to make sure that the waste is disposed rightly, human waste and other waste. We are planning to work on different slums. The sample space is Katete, whereby we shall be collecting human waste or emptying the latrines that are already existing, and also collecting the organic and inorganic waste from those areas.
So right here, we managed to win 2 million shillings in a very serious competition. We are going to use this very same to call upon others as we come up with different initiatives, different ideas, to change their life.
We are so glad because we have won, as you see, we have won 2 million, and this 2 million will help us to promote our project, because the project that we had, we were planning to start constructing buildings using these plastic bottles. But now we were still lacking some funds, but now we have got the fund and really going to begin our project.
Well, the thing that I see about the world, what it should be, it's all question of imagination. Imagination is we want to create a world which will be absolutely free from poverty.
I was able to win the competition of writing that imagination. And I believe this money is I'm not just going to eat the money, but I'm planning to build up a project that is going to concentrate on climate change.
I believe that 2050, the climate will drastically change. By 2050, the population will be too high, around 9.5 billion. If we can start now, we can save the 2050, the future of 2050. We can save it by starting now.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we should collaborate for survival, because you know the dangers, for transformation, especially for us developing countries, and lastly, for sustainability. Thank you very much.
Please stay. Thank you very much. May I now call all the presenters to come to the stage for a photo session.
We'd also request Professor Yunus to please join them on stage for a quick photo, if that's all right.
Together, these esteemed panelists represent a collective force of knowledge, passion, and dedication to forging a path towards new economy that prioritizes sustainability, inclusivity, and social impact. Their contributions today will undoubtedly guide us in understanding how collaborative ecosystems can nurture social business to shape a brighter and more equitable future for all. Thank you.
Now, you give us a moment where we have with us today. He's a distinguished cardiac surgeon and innovative entrepreneur, and the revered chair. Dr. Shetty has garnered healthcare accessible to all. He's been awarded prestigious honors, which includes Bhushan and the Economist Innovation Award, amongst others. Dr. Shetty presents demonstrates to quality healthcare. Quickly check whether we've got Dr. Shetty connected. Sirs, just a second. We're setting it all up now. Dr. Shetty will mainly reflecting on online's experience of boosting access to specialist consultation and triage. It's a very important topic. We believe will be having action from him. Just a few more moments to be able to connect to him. Whilst that happens, if I just to sort of re-energize ourselves, if I may please ask one of our colleagues from YY stage to do a very brief breathing exercise. It sort of gets us, you know, the blood pumping again and our enthusiasm going while we get Dr. Devi Shetty. I've put my chance out, but I'm sure she'll work something out.
Hello, hi everyone. I hope you've all had a lovely lunch, which kind of looks like it because you're very much relaxed in your seats. But I really hope that you had the time to engage and talk to your old friends and make new friends. But we also want to start refocusing and centering ourselves as we proceed to the next sessions. Can we all do that? So I would like to invite you all to a little mindfulness exercise. And this means not just you, sir, everyone in the audience, even the tech team who's having a hectic time of making this an amazing event. Everyone, I would invite you for the next 2 minutes to really practice this breathing exercise with me. Are we ready? All right. So we're going to set the mood first. Let's have some music. Okay. You don't have to be an expert to do this breathing exercise. You just have to. I hope that you very gently and start relaxing your body. If you have not closed your eyes already, I would like you all to close your eyes and feel the negative energy, the stress of the day flow out of your toes. Have your palm up so that your palm can feel the cold air around you. And just concentrate in that you're breathing. that you're alive, that you're well, that you've met your friends today. Your body, your knuckle, your elbow, your knees, and your toes. Concentrate in the sound of your own inhale. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, inhale. And exhale through your mouth. If you feel a certain stiffness in your muscle, in your shoulder, in your elbow, again, relax. And inhale once again. 1, 2, 3, inhale. And hold. Let go. And if you have your eyes closed, think about all of the stress and let it all go through the palms of your hand once again. You're with your family, your friends, grateful that you're alive, that you're well. Now we're all here for a collective mission. Start refocusing in yourself and the importance of you being here today. And we do this 2 more times. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, inhale and hold. And exhale through your mouth. And one last time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, and hold. And exhale through your mouth. And when you're ready, you can start opening your eyes. And maybe look around you and feel more here. And at that, I'll leave you to it for the next session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That was just incredible. Thank you very much. So I believe we've already got Dr. Shetty. If we can start projecting the screen. Dr. Shetty, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us on the occasion of Social Business Day 2023. Can you hear us, Dr. Shetty? Wonderful. Dr. Shetty, you may be on mute if you wanted to have a quick check.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can. And everyone here would like to give you a very warm welcome. Let's give a loud round of applause for Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty. We've got Professor Yunus and all our friends around making time. Narayana Health, boosting access to specialist triage. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Yunus. I am a great admirer of Professor Yunus. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I strongly believe that the healthcare will get completely disrupted by technology. Healthcare will get dissociated from affluence. And for this to happen, the first step we need to take is to remove the pen and paper from the hands of the doctors, nurses, and technicians. when this happens, first thing what will happen is healthcare will become for today. Healthcare is not safer for the patient. In the United States, a medical error is the third leading cause of death. So, if medical error, healthcare is safer for the patient. We have to digitize healthcare, and once the health model first and the nurse and the patient will happen online. So if we promote online healthcare, then patients will consult doctors at a very early age of the disease, and most of the diseases can be diagnosed at an early stage. Patients hate going to the hospital, but they are very comfortable in seeing the doctors online. This is about the how online healthcare will change the outpatient practice. And online healthcare will obviously make the technology will make healthcare safer for the patient. Then also we believe within the next 5 years, 4-5 years, smart software will make smarter diagnosis than the doctors. Within the next 7 to 10 years time, it will become mandatory for the doctors to take the second opinion from the software before the treatment. I know my professional colleagues may not accept it, but this is the reality. That will not make us less important. That will only enhance our service to the patient and make us safer for the patients. There will be a major shift happening inside the hospital. Today, when you go to any busy hospital, you always see a long queue of patients waiting to register. In our hospital in Health City in Bangalore, there is no queue. Patients can register in their own mobile phone. They can make the payment and they are given a number and they can go to the doctor's office, and you will see that hospital will have reception without reception. It is exactly like the experience what you get today when you go to the airports. There are very few people to check you in. You do the check-in yourself with the kiosk. Same experience happen in the hospital reception. And before you see the doctors, previous day the nurse would have called you. She would have taken the entire history. She would have entered into your medical records. And when you go to the doctor, your experience is going to be dramatically different. Doctor is going to ask you, what is your problem? Doctor is going to tell you, saying that 5 years ago you had a chest pain, you went to the doctor, did the angiogram. Patient will have much better experience. Care unit service will be at home, and only the junior doctor and nurses will be near the patient. Most of the decision of how it has to be taken care of is taken by the remotely. It is very important today in India, Bangladesh, US, where intensive care unit patient gets the best care only between 9 a.m. and 5 a.m. 16 hours or 20 cycle, patient gets suboptimal care with the junior doctors and junior nurses. So this will change once you have the online ICU coverage from home. So essentially, all these transformations 10 years and essentially I would like to end my talk saying that the Uber just transport company doesn't own the cars. Alibaba, which is the world's largest retail company, has no inventory, and the world's largest care provider will have no beds. It is going to be a software. So this is the opportunity we have in our part of the world to develop that software. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shetty, for joining us and gracing your presence and addressing Social Business Day 2023. We hope to have you here in person at a future day. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
With this, now we move on to the next session, which is announcements for day one. As we move through this much anticipated segment, it's time to reveal some exciting developments and initiatives that are set to shape the future of social business and our collective mission towards a more equitable, compassionate, and sustainable world. The first one that we have is a video message which comes from Virunga National Park by Emmanuel de Merode, who's a remarkable figure dedicated to the preservation of biodiversity and advancements of community development, and has devoted his entire life to the Virunga National Park, Africa's oldest and most diverse protected area. The park is renowned for its endangered mountain gorilla, large amounts of oxygen, which keeps us going, the planet Earth and all of us. Emmanuel is a view of intertwining environmental conservation with sustainable measures, community-focused economic development, and wants to use the microcredit and social business model as a tool for peace building and prosperity in the region. With that in mind, could we please have the video on the Virunga National Park?
Virunga National Park in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo is without a doubt one of the greatest natural landscapes on Earth, but it's equally beset by extraordinary problems. The most important condition for the park to survive is that it meets the needs of the people living around the park. What we've found is the only way of really achieving that is to trigger transformation in economic development. And for that, two basic ingredients were needed. The first is a cheap source of clean energy. The other are financial services. And for that, we have been able to develop a model that's inspired from the Grameen model. Micro businesses around the park are able to secure loans and repay those loans simply by paying their electricity bill. This gives us enormous hope in terms of securing a future for the national park, but also of bringing an end to extreme poverty around the park and an end to violence. So we're incredibly excited about this growing partnership with the Grameen family. And of course, we'd like to take the opportunity, the entire team in Virunga, to wish you, Professor Yunus, a very happy birthday.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that this turns out to be an incredible project and a prototype and example for going forward of how social business can truly integrate into various environments and ecosystems. Now, we move on to a very exciting development, which is the new Yunus Social Business Center, a great contribution to the social business academia movement. We are delighted to announce that National Institute of Development and Administration, NIDA or NIDA, and the Yunus Center are just about to sign a memorandum of understanding to establish the new Yunus Social Business Center. This new center will play a pivotal role in promoting social business, conducting social business research, fostering collaborations to address environmental issues. I would now like to invite on stage the key people who have been instrumental behind this collaboration. First up, we've got Professor Dr. Tipawan Lusuwaranat, the President of NIDA from Thailand, Associate Professor Dr. Pathiri, the Director of Research at Thailand and Director of Yunus Center at Asian Institute of Technology. Shihab Khan, Head of International Projects at Yunus Center, and of course, Professor Mohammad Yunus, mind being on stage as well, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us extend our best wishes and whole collaboration. To kick off, first like to invite Professor Dr. Tipawan, President of NIDA, say a few words.
Professor Muhammad, distinguished delegates from the Yunus Center, Board of Governors of AIU, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the National Institute of Development Administration, or NIDA, from Thailand, I'm very delighted and very excited to join you in this momentous occasion. Today is the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between NIDA and Yunus Center, Dhaka, marking a significant milestone in our journey of sustainable development and impactful social change. We are privileged to meet Professor Yunus, the Vision Founder Center, whose pioneering work in social entrepreneurship has transformed worldwide. This MOU marks the beginning of a journey to the landscape of social and achieve our sustainable development. We believe collaboration with Yunus Center to address complex challenges, village and expertise. This MOU will have lasting impact, inspiring others to join us in our commitment to social sustainable development. Our initiatives will encourage participation in social entrepreneurship, provide opportunities for marginalized groups, and strengthen the between NIDA and Yunus Center academic networks. On behalf of NIDA, I would like to express gratitude for their support. This historic occasion with enthusiasm and determination. And this partnership, I would like to invite Professor Yunus to be our distinguished keynote speaker in our international conference next month as well. Okay. May this partnership flourish as we strive this meaningful difference in the world. Thank you.
ladies, this we're now excited to announce that next in our agenda is of a teaser video on a world of 3 zeros. This is a highly anticipated, which is the result of remarkable collaboration between Azimut and Yunus Center, social business that produces films and many productions encompass various dimensions of shared vision for a world of net carbon emission. The vivid over the past years and compelling hubs projects in Amazon, which and also done work of the COVID-19 is a common good. The contributions of society journey in the world of social business by Azimut. Could you please have a video?
Ideas to accomplish a world resource.
Zero wealth concentration, and zero.
It's problematic at the moment, and that everyone wants to change. Let's give people the opportunity to change. Give funds, businesses, and citizens opportunity. How far can we go so that even projects that already can go a step further?
I look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I figure out how they do it,
Entrepreneurship is our ability to progress together.
For us, entrepreneurship is actually to create something where an athlete is at, all the time.
Change in mindset has to happen for young people.
How these young people? It's now that we must tell them that they are capable of doing amazing things. My dream changed into opening my own restaurant.
What we need is not just social businesses, it's also citizens and demanding a change so that the economy can change.
You know who you are. Go for it.
Nothing is impossible for a human being. All we have
It was here when I was a child.
What an absolutely captivating teaser. Next, delighted to introduce the next presenter, which is Paola from Italy. Paola is a graduate of the prestigious Academy of Verona. Also completed the High Composition Master's course. Paola's engagement with students through music and arts has played a pivotal part in her journey. Notably, she's done music for the multimedia chamber opera titled $20, inspired by Banker to the Poor. Very first of today, Paola will be introducing and presenting a video, Peace, Economics, Future of Human Beings. And welcoming Paola to
Afternoon, Sir Yunus and everybody. It's really a great honor to be here again. I live in Italy and I'm a composer. In 2007, my husband and I set up a design and multimedia company and decided to dedicate a special branch to the development of projects dealing with work-related social issues. In May 2019, the stage representation of the Multimedia Chamber titled $27, freely inspired by the book Banker to the Poor, was a success among audiences and critics. Professor Yunus honored us with his presence at our premiere. His support really meant a lot to us and made our dreams stronger. In 2020, when silence ruled our lives, we started No Crash, a project of music, dance, and architecture focusing on dignity and safety at work. The aim was to remind people that we cannot give up fundamentals. We shot three shorts that formed the basis for our campaign to raise awareness. So far, we have planted seeds to reaching out to people who wanted our more than 140, or whom we met along our way with. As a result, tried to make people understand the vital role art can play in conveying messages and supporting economic models oriented towards affirming ethical values. Now, presenting our new short film, Factory Fairy Tale, Factory Safe, can be transformed place. Machinery sounds like the little protagonist. Gears, light, dance. Gears is a fairy tale work a virtuous our movies for attention and strive for dignity safety at work for all human beings. Thanks to all the people coordinating the Yunus and our deep gratitude to you for what you have done to make the world a better place. Please, short film, A Factory.
As we move forward, we are set to continue the afternoon with an engaging impulse speech that is certain to inspire and provoke thought. It's an absolute pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Bijan Khezri. A master strategist and visionary, Dr. Khezri is the founder of KCRI, Khezri Capital Research International AG, a private equity investor and governance partner. He's an accomplished writer with his latest publication, Governing Continuous Transformation, and contributes to prestigious platforms such as the Financial Wall Street Journal and Harvard Business Review. Currently serving Board of Governors of the Albukhary International University, Dr. Khezri champions equal opportunity and education as the bedrock for sustainable growth. Let's extend a warm welcome to Dr. D. Bijan Khezri.
Hello to everyone. I'm very honored to be present here, Professor Yunus, and I'm particularly honored, really, I would introduce myself as a member of the Board of Governors of the Albukhary. Very happy to see that my son was able to come with me today because there's a next generation. Obviously, all the work we are doing is really for the next generation. I thought it's very, very difficult to prepare a meaningful speech and something which may inspire you for such a diverse audience. And I would like to do structured three things. I would like to make a few statements and some provocative statements. And I will say from my perspective what I truly think is the challenge and what I think is actually the solution in a certain way. Because I think the challenge we have is probably many times, as Professor Yunus has proven, a mental challenge. And how we approach it and how we look at the world and what model we build. It was very interesting to listen to the previous presentations. They were very diverse. There were some statements I probably would not agree with. I do think actually that the world is in a really good stage. And the reason why I think actually this conference is a great testimony to what I think is there to aspire, what is there to come. I'm obviously grown up in the Western world. I'm originally German. I live between New York and Switzerland, which is an important dimension because these are very different governance systems, and the comparative perspective allowed me really to distill my own governance model. But we tend in the West, where obviously the dominant research is located for a lot of the topics we're dedicated to, that it obviously has an implied bias in the approach we take to any problem. And for me, it's incredibly enriching to be here, listen to the many parts of the world which are represented with some really great initiatives, to see the diversity and how much bigger the world is than actually the Western world which has dominated. I will make now a few statements. One is, I do really think that profits are very, very important, because profits is in any economic system a very important supplier of information. And we need good information and reliable information the way we allocate our resources. So obviously then it's a question of how we distribute the profits. But I think first of all, we need to be very sensitive not to look at profits in too derogative of a way. We need the profits, we need the money to drive the change, which actually Professor Yunus has asked us to follow on his path, in which all of you have been doing for a long time. I'm probably just a newcomer and start getting really inspired to make my own contribution. I have done my PhD at a very late stage, at the age of 50. And so I do firmly believe that learning and being a dedicated student for the rest of your life is the source of freedom. So I think what all brings us together, also to come physically together, is that probably the real learning that happens is not so much when we listen to speeches like myself, but maybe more what are the dialogues that follow from all these conferences and when you all go back to other parts in the world. But I think that's when the real learning really happens. I have been dedicated really since the very early stages of my career to understanding transformation. I've always been involved in technology. I started as a technology banker, and today I am really mainly involved from the business side in leading technology companies. And I do believe that technology is absolutely key. We heard it in the medical space, the changes it will drive. Right now, artificial intelligence is a very big topic. I do think that artificial intelligence has been there for a long time. Obviously, now it's much more accessible. It will have very disruptive implications, but it will improve, I think, all the impact that each one of you can. We can do it at lower cost, we can do it more effectively. So I think we should also not look at artificial intelligence too negatively, despite the fact that I think we have to be very careful. And there's many initiatives already in Europe that start regulating the use of artificial intelligence. That leads me to another statement, which I think is a very important statement. All of you are coming together to be leaders in your own right, and there's leaders at every juncture and at every level of any organization. But what we have to realize is when we analyze leadership, many times we're not facing a leadership challenge, but facing a governance. The economics, the framework we are operating in is so important to drive the success of each one of you. And I have always been fascinated by how we can actually drive that change bottom up. I grew up in Germany, and when I was 20 years old, the Berlin Wall was falling, and all the communist states of the eastern part of of Europe and Soviet Union were changing, and it really fascinated me of how you can support a change. I actually, at the time, which was kind of progressive at the time, I created a very significant organization which was integrating Russian students, Eastern European students into German companies to learn how the economic system is working. So I was always very dedicated to actually looking at the change, starting at the grassroots. And this, I had the chance to publish in '92 my first article in the Financial Times, which was on this topic of how to lead grassroots change. Now, what do I think is the challenge we have in the world? We hear everywhere that the world is more uncertain and more unpredictable. And I think this has always been true at any juncture in history. But there's one thing which I think is challenging us particularly. I don't think when people say the world is uncertain, it is not so much a statement about the world, it is much more a statement about my own model of the world. Because uncertainty is a very subjective concept. What is uncertain for you may not be uncertain for the other person. And I think our challenge is that we are struggling to update and develop our models with the way we look at. I'm very that for many people, pandemic broke out in 2020 or 2019, it was not a surprise for many people. And people had figured major pandemics and how they can evolve and how they can spread. They had that part of their model. But the majority of the world was taken by surprise. We're also taken by surprise by the war between Ukraine and Russia. But for many people, this is something which should happen at this stage in the cycle we are in. Because I firmly believe there's different economists who have different theories. I do believe that a 100-year cycle is coming to an end. And there's some really great studies around this, how you can see what are the features of the end of a 100-year cycle. And there are wars which are not necessarily physical wars any longer. They are fought in the currency markets in many ways to change the world order. So this generation, and certainly the generation of my son, will be witnessing the fundamental change of a world order. And I do believe that the world order is moving from the West towards you. And all the changes you will be implementing and driving, I think the world will increasingly look towards this part of the world. I will close my presentation with a personal journey. I recall when I was a very young banker, and the first time I was allowed to go and see a client. I walked into the client's office, and it was a great professor. We took his company public on the London Stock Exchange, and he was a mathematics professor. He had a very empty office, but there was only one sign behind his chair. And it was a quote from Bernard Shaw. And the quote said, "The reasonable man adapts to the world. The unreasonable man wants the world to adapt to him. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." And I think, Professor Yunus, you are a brilliant example for this. You have to aspire, you have to set very high expectations or aspirations for the change you can make happen. With imagination, it all starts. I think the path, and this is what many people don't understand, is really determined by humility. It is the humility which actually the Albukhary International University stands for, and what we want to breed in our students to be successful, because I think the path on which you walk with the highest aspirations. When I was looking at the changes which were happening, dramatic for a young German student when the Berlin Wall was falling, I was studying economics at the time, and there's a great economist who has died now. He was a Harvard economist, and I recommend to all of you to read his published in 1970, which is called Exit, Voice, and Loyalty. When you look at these three concepts, exit, voice, loyalty, they are the three concepts you can analyze any system with, from the family to the company to a nation state, or in Europe, a supranational organization. And the strength and the power of it is that every system depends, and the stability of a system, on a healthy tension between voice and exit. And sometimes exit can be temporary, for people to exit a country, to come back, be more inspired, be more qualified, and drive the changes. And you need people also to express their voice. And this, at a very young age, led me to develop a theory of governance, which I very firmly believe in, because I've been on the boards of companies for almost 30 years now. And it really depends on three things where you can see a system is going to fail or a system is going to be successful. And it's very, very simple. Structure is where you analyze how to the top decision makers. And when you see, it's one example, but when you see also organizations where all the intelligence is truly, really in the front lines, and the top decision makers are only as good as they can into the intelligence of the front lines. If you don't see this flow of information working, you usually have an organization which will fail. And when you look at the statistics, probably at least 50 to 60% of the Fortune 500 companies which exist today will cease to exist within the next 5 to 10 years. Because I do think that organizations are more challenged than ever how they make that flow work and how they give identity and meaning to the front lines of an organization. The second dimension, where you can see whether an organization will succeed or fail, I called it cognition, is when you go to the leading business schools of the world, they will teach you that the successful organizations are the ones that can, and that leads back and connects back nicely to the quote of Bernard Shaw. And I think the world is changing very fast in very dynamic ways, where every one individual, one of you, can have an impact which is very difficult to model of what repercussions it can have. So the world is no longer something objective out there that we should analyze, but we create it. And I think any organization's success is determined by the confidence to create your own reality. And that leads to the third dimension, which is capabilities. And capabilities, today We have operational capability and we have cognitive capabilities. I firmly believe that the cognitive capabilities are going to be much more in order to steer that change and make that successful. So we have launched at AIU, and with this I conclude, the AIU Radar. And the AIU Radar is a publication forum including with lectures where we look at actually addressing the governance challenge beyond the leadership challenge to have impactful change. Thank you very much.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Dr. Khezri for his insights and contributions to this year's Social Business Day. It's time for us to move on to our next engagement. In light of the recent pandemic, we are standing at a crucial junction where every step counts. The session is titled Care in the Post-Pandemic World, Building Infrastructure, Embracing New Economics, and Envisioning the Future of Humanity. Our distinguished panel into the role of social business in reshaping the healthcare landscape and how we start and chart a course towards a more equitable and sustainable future. To moderate this session, we're joined by Dr. Faiz Shah, the President of Yunus, Thailand, and Director of Yunus Center at the Asian Institute of Technology. 4 decades of experience, Dr. Shah is a development professional dedicated to leading public health initiatives, and he's been an integral part of the Yunus Center at AIT and co-leading numerous programs, including the Yunus Masters in Social Business and, of course, the Entrepreneurship Masters program. An interesting contribution by Dr. Shah is his Urdu translation of Yunus's book, A World of Three Zeros. We obviously have a exceptional speaker, provide valuable insights, and in person, along with Dr. Shah, A.K.M. Moinuddin Chaudhry, the Managing Director of Grameen Kalyan, Dr. Tanawan Salimrat Karaway, Assistant Professor, PhD, Senior Program Specialist at Yunus Center at AIT. From Thailand, we've got Dr. Ashir Ahmed, Associate Professor, Department of Advanced Information and Technology from Kyushu University, Japan. We've also got Mr. Shamsul Haq Ahmed, the Managing Director of Grameen Healthcare Services Limited. We're also graced by Ms. Shireen Parveen Haq, co-founder of Naripokko. And of course, we've got our dear friend and colleague Enzo Curcio, Food Coalition Coordinator, Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. I'm requesting the moderator and all the speakers to please come to stage. Speakers make their way. I would like to remind them, including Dr. Shah, that this session will be timed. To facilitate this, we will have Mr. Bell and Mr. Timer Black at play. Please help us maintaining times and ensure we have a fruitful discussion. Let's get started and let's give a huge round of applause for this panel. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we're just getting comfortable here. Thank you, everyone, for staying for this exciting panel. I'm sure this is going to be an excellent supersonic ride through some very exciting ideas. Now, I've got a challenge here, of course, as Prometheus mentioned. We have all these very distinguished speakers who could probably go on for a very long time and continue to make sense. But at the same time, we also have a clock that seems to be perpetually against us. So So we have two options. Either we just break all the clocks, or we just get on with this the best we can. So we've got two actually people who could not join us. But we had, Dr. Shetty will not join us on this panel. But let me just start by painting the scenario for this particular segment. The title of this panel, of course, is Healthcare in the Post-Pandemic World. Building Infrastructure, Embracing New Economics, and Envisioning the Future of Humanity. There could be no simpler question if you ask. So we're talking about building infrastructure, which implies that the previous infrastructure is either shaky or inadequate or both. It implies new economics, which means the financials that we depend on need also to be looked at from a completely new perspective. And it talks about the future of humanity. This is all the more important because we continuously see that despite the messages that we continue to hear about this being a dire time for humanity, a lot of things continue to go on in what is known as business as usual. So this wonderful panel here comprises people who have and continue to challenge business as usual through their work and through their action, and hopefully through, as we end, through their future collaboration. It's refreshing perspectives who provides us with a unique vantage point. It's the same issue, same infrastructure, new economics, future of humanity, but these are distinct 8 perspectives. So you're looking at the same thing from 8 equally valid, equally exciting perspectives. So that's my time. I could go on too, since I do this for a living, but I think it's time to go straight into the session plan and trying to set a standard for keeping that bell not from ringing while we continue to speak. So my first duty here is to introduce Mr. Moin Chaudhary. Mr. Moin Chaudhary is the MD of Grameen Kalyan. Grameen Kalyan has had a lot of success in bottom of the pyramid initiatives in grassroots healthcare and capacity for resilience. Moin bhai, quick introduction, please, and more to the stuff itself. Over to you.
Thank you so much. To introduce myself, Grameen Kalyan is the primary healthcare center in Bangladesh, and this is the largest primary healthcare in Bangladesh, where we are continuing since 28 years as of today. And I'm the managing director, and currently we have 144 centers serving in Bangladesh, mostly the poor communities of Bangladesh.
Wonderful. But we'd also like to ask, what is it that addresses the question? What infrastructure are we fixing? What are the economics of this fix? And where do we see Grameen Kalyan into the future?
Thank you. Can I show some slides? If it's all right. Thank you. Next slide, please.
We do have a slide, right?
Thank you. I envision Grameen Kalyan will be one of the leading primary healthcare providers in Bangladesh. So to start with that, how we are spread in Bangladesh, we are having 144 health centers with 14 regions, and our presence is in 30 districts out of 64 districts of Bangladesh. And we have a total of 1,200 people working in Bangladesh in 144 health centers. And with that, the main delivery that we have, to be honest, and we wanted to understand that why we have come into existence, like what is that missing in our country now. Some inequalities I'll talk about, the next slide, is very important to us to know actually what happens in Bangladesh. Like the rural and urban population is like 60% people live in rural areas and 40% live in urban. What happens is most of the healthcare facilities in the capital city. So mostly the poor people have the service that they get. But where we come in and providing the service, one of the healthcare services to our most marginalized people. We have, unfortunately, only a doctor for every 1,847 people or patients, and we have only 3 nurses for 10,000 population. That is really a very scary scenario because we need to have more nurses, we need to have more doctors to look after the patients. Another point is quite related to the universal health coverage, like out-of-pocket spends. In Bangladesh, a person who goes for treatment spends almost 70 taka out of 100 taka from their pocket, whereas the WHO suggested that it should be less than 40%. So that is one way probably the poor people gets really poorer. And the last one at least says that almost 6 million people are drawn into the poverty line because of this overhead costs of the entire treatment of this.
That's such a wonderful example of broken healthcare infrastructure and a completely wonky economic model, right?
Yeah.
So by doing what Kramin Kalyan does, it lifts the burdens,
Absolutely.
it reduces the economic burden, and it creates access.
Absolutely.
Right. So these are the 3 fixes. And in
Yeah.
future, what we see is more and more people becoming part of the Grameen Kalyan networks.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's what drives me to my next speaker, who's Dr. Ashir Ahmed. And I think he's probably got a kind of a fix for this, guys. Thank you for that. Dr. Ashir Ahmed is associate professor at Kyushu University, and his area of expertise, of course, is information and communication technology. So what do we expect from a communication technology man other than great technology? Over to you, Dr. Ashir.
Thank you. Terima
We do
kasih
have a
for the
slide as well,
introduction.
right, guys?
Hi, my name is Ashir Ahmed. I work in Kyushu University. I teach computer science, but in my research, I do develop technologies for a special purpose to solve some social problems. So one of them are healthcare problem. We developed portable health clinic with the support of many organizations, starting with Grameen Communications, AIT Thailand as well. Portable health clinic, it solves 3 portability. Portability of devices. So wherever devices are not available, we made sure that the total hospital can be collapsed into a box. Call it a doctor in a box, but where exactly the doctor is. So we built an infrastructure that the doctor can be connected from anywhere in the world. So, and the next portability comes of data portability. For example, if I ask you the question, wherever you travel, your email goes with you. How about your healthcare data? Does it go with you? Does it travel with you right at this moment? Can we have all of your healthcare data into one place so that you have your healthcare data is yours, but it belongs to, right now it belongs to a hospital, it belongs to in a paper, in an analog format, but can we make it possible that it travels with you? Digitization of healthcare data, this is so important. Right now, 80% of the health records, these are all analog. So digitizing this analog data is becoming more complex these days because one of the reason is doctor's handwriting. It is so difficult to recognize the doctor handwriting, even for the AI systems. So in our first run, right, even written in English. So first we ran one AI technique to recognize the prediction of healthcare doctor handwriting. The initial result was only 62%. Then we augmented different type of samples. Any human being in any form, they write it, we can now recognize 87.5% of the handwriting data of healthcare data right now. So then if you want to you want to integrate all this data and make it all of your data in one health Gantt chart. What is one health Gantt chart? Gantt chart means you can make your project, like 50 years long project, 10 years long project, into one slide. So if I'm 52 years old, can I put all of my health records into one page so that one doctor can take a look, and within 47 seconds, can a doctor make a clinical decision? as Dr. Devishetty, he was mentioning that we want to remove the pen and pencil from the doctor. It's not an easy task. We have to do this kind of sort of backward compatibility, that first of all, we have to collect all this data, digitize them, put it into one slide, then every a doctor can see all of your health history in 47 seconds. Why 47 seconds? Bangladesh, one doctor can consult with a patient only for 47 seconds. This is the current scenario. So you want to keep that in mind. If we cannot increase the number of the doctor, I think by using the technology, we can make the doctor understand about your health history.
So we noticed that we've figured this all out, except for perhaps the economic argument here.
That's the part that we are struggling. But the good news is we are trying to see whether this healthcare delivery can be given to the healthcare, micro healthcare entrepreneurs.
Right.
So at the end, the patient, they don't want to talk to a robot. They want to talk to a human being.
Right.
So a human being will be a very good interface to talk to an elderly patient or whatever.
So how about if we experimented in communities that reflect or which are a microcosm of our society? Our next speaker is going to talk about that, because the example that we have coming up is of a campus community where, using the PHC that Dr. Rashid has described, we're going to actually see if wider well-being operations can become models for wider social applications. So if I may, I'd like to introduce Dr. Tanawan Caraway, my colleague at AIT and also at Yunus, Thailand, who, apart from being what she does in social business, is a very well-recognized medical researcher. Over to you, Dr. Tanawan, for the Campus Genki project.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faiz. Can I have my slide, please? At Yunus Center at AIT, we provide knowledge, innovation by using technology. And one of our work is we try to create the healthcare, the wellness campus, that's what I say. And it's called Genki campus. Genki means well-being and healthy campus, healthy in Japanese language. So we use PSC technology to create this environment. Next slide, please. So let me tell you why I need a healthy campus. It improves student success, is the health for retention and graduation rate, the mental health and stress reduction, enhance employee productivity, enhance healthcare costs in long term, increase campus safety, positive campus reputation, and supportive campus services. So here at AIT, Yunus Center AIT, we collaborate with Kyushu University and Garmin Communication. We use PSC system to give the health checkup. We do twice a year, every semester. And we provide, next one please. So this is like a personal Genki map. So each member that do Genki testing with us, we provide them Genki map after the checkup. So you can see in the yellow is the full circle chart, indicate normal health status. And if our member have chart health risk and need attention that must be addressed by campus well-being strategy, program, and any intervention in the future. And now we want to go to the next step. Using PSC in health, digital health platform and social business. So what we aim is PHC check-up every semester for all registered Genki member. Co-payment model using subscription and insurance funds. Affordable at 200 baht, which is around 6 to 7 USD. And check up twice a year for the basic programs. We give on-file Genki map to everyone and linking the overall information health status to the campus to provide food, sport, routine that good for everyone in the campus and emphasize on behavior change to increase sustain and participation.
Great. And see, the good bit about this is that not only by giving these Genki maps to people, make them physically aware of where they stand in a well-being situation, it saves the university a lot of money in saving premiums on health insurance that they provide for everybody on campus. So it just doesn't help alone people becoming more healthy. It actually has an economic benefit to the university itself. That's where I think is something that does exactly what everybody else is doing. It challenges, it restores infrastructure, and it has an economic business case as well, like the other two models that we have seen. So with that, I suppose we have a gap. Dr. Jamila will not be joining us, I think, but we have Mr. Shamsul Haq Ahmed. So I'd like to take us to another case study. We talked about the campus. Now we're going to talk about eye care. I know that you all know that eye care is one of the biggest needs that is understated in healthcare markets. It's a need that doesn't make a lot of money for a lot of people. Therefore, we often find eye care being ignored. And also because it strikes people who are less aware, less economically viable, and sometimes also perhaps not capable through access and through affordability for eye care. So I'd like us to look at what Grameen Health Services does. And Mr. Shamsul, who is the head of the Grameen Healthcare Services, is going to take us into this fascinating snapshot into how we train eye damage and we fix eye problems for people who most often cannot otherwise afford to do so.
Thank you so much. So, hi everybody, good afternoon. This is Shamsul Haq Ahmed. I'm working for Grameen Healthcare Services. I would like to give a short glimpse about the Grameen Healthcare Services for your better understanding. The inception year for Grameen Healthcare Services was back in 2006. And presently, Grameen Healthcare Services is completely a social business model working company. And we are working following the methodology of a cross-subsidy model. So using this methodology and following the principles of social business model, we are operating our business. And the present structure-wise, we are working with two-tier business model. The one is the primary eye care business and the secondary eye care business model. So we are having two-tier, but of course we have our future plan as well. And that plan shows that we will be escalating our Grameen Healthcare Services into three-tier business services by 2030. We call it Vision 2030 for Grameen Healthcare Services. So as I said, I'd like to focus on 2 points that will, I'm sure, suffice the entire picture of the eye healthcare services. Because according to the standard of WHO, in case of Bangladesh, there is supposed to be one ophthalmologist against a people of 100,000 people. But in Bangladesh, the present scenario, it is absolutely the other way around. There is only one ophthalmologist against 200,000 people. So it is just half. So this is one scenario. The other scenario is again a very, very paradoxical scenario. It shows that 80 to 85% of our eye patients, they live in the rural areas. Whereas what do we see? With the shortage of manpower, 90 and 85 to 90% of the ophthalmologists, they work in the urban areas. So we see a clear conflicting scenarios here, which really reflects about the care scenario. And as my moderator rightly said, that by our way of doing business, we do not operate in the urban areas because one of the core objective of our business is reaching to the unreachables. And how do we reach them? We plan our hospitals, we plan our vision centers in such a manner, so these are placed in the distant part. So we can reach to those people, those who are underprivileged and do not have the very good access to the eye care services. So this is how we plan our business. And the other thing is, the most important thing is we are having this scarcity of, we'll talk later about this part, that how we are taking initiative to challenge of having shortage of manpower in the eye healthcare part.
Thank you. That's very fascinating. And also, I think the thing about eye care is that it is not expensive to administer. And the fact that by simply implementing preventive eye care, you can save a lot of people from eye damage and eyesight deterioration. So thank you for that. And now, what we did so far is that we took a general view from seeing what Grameen Kalyan does. We gave you an example of how G can create opportunities for access, outreach, quality, and more tactile human centered experience, despite it being technology. Then we talked about two case studies or two situations where you had a campus and an eye environment. So we are actually drilling down. But now it's time to probably take a view at some of the other issues that surround these innovations. When people do not have regulatory cover, when people do not know where the law prohibits, allows, sustains, or uh, uh, limits the service delivery, things start to happen. And you need to always have innovation, but in step with innovation, you have to have accountability. So we have with us, as you're all familiar with, Ms. Shireen Parveen Haq, who is in her own stead a very well-known campaigner for human rights, women's rights, accountability, and generally transparency of anything we do. So I think somebody of this background fits a panel like this one, because when we talk about fixing infrastructure, we talk about new economics, we talk about future, and we look at what you've done through your work, accountability becomes a very important aspect, right? So if I may I ask if you have any views on what all this wonderful work will entail in terms of accountability, and how, when we create the new future for humanity, how your work will impact that at the level that we are discussing. Over to you.
I don't have any comments directly on any of the presentations, and I was not sure what I was expected to speak about. But anyway, now that you've asked for accountability, I actually, today I stand here with two hats. One is my own organization, Nari Pakho, which is a women's rights organization, and also as a trustee of Ganeshwar Kendra, which is the pioneering healthcare organization in Bangladesh. Sorry. And in terms of the question, I think I would like to make preliminary points first. One is that in Naripakho, one of the work we've done is focus on maternal deaths. And although Bangladesh has made a lot of progress in reducing number of maternal deaths, it is still a long way to go. So one of the things we started was to monitor Upazila health complexes, which are county level health facilities, government health facilities, and tracking every single maternal death and trying to analyze and categorize whether these deaths were due to delays. You know, commonly we talk about the delays, what kind of delays, and what was happening even when people were coming to the center and not finding doctors. Absenteeism of doctors turned out actually the main cause rather than the delay in getting to the hospital. The second reason was blood group matching. One of the things we introduced in the coastal area, Potuakhali and Borguna, we introduced voluntary blood donations and voluntary blood cross-matching, so that a list of donors at any emergency already with blood group identified, etc., etc. So these were ways in which we tried to address of what we are calling avoidable maternal deaths. Of course, we know that there are maternal deaths that are probably not avoidable, but there are most of it is actually preventable. The second thing is, in my other hat, Ganeshwar Kendra has for actually trained traditional birth attendants who are very looked down upon by international agencies, but who provide a lifeline to poor women, poor rural women. And the idea is that the traditional birth attendant is actually trained to identify when a delivery is risky, high risk, and when it is not. If it is high risk, she is encouraged to immediately refer to the local health center run by Ganeshastu Kendro, and she is helped by the local paramedic who actually has a presence in the village. So she is accompanied by the paramedic to the local center. If it is actually a very difficult case, obstructed labor, then they don't go to the local center, they go straight to the hospital. And actually, Yunus Bhai has played an important role by providing Bangladesh with mobile phones. So these women now have mobile phones. So they are able to make a quick call to the hospital. So when they arrive, the whole team is already there. Unlike what we saw in Potuakhali and Borguna, where we were encouraging women to go to the hospital and only to find that the doctor is not there or the nurse is not there, anesthetist and the obstetrician do not pair. There's an anesthetist in the health complex in the next Upazila, but there's no obstetrician there, and there's an obstetrician here, but no anesthetist. So these are the some of the, what should I say, blunders of posting by government. This importance of posting in pairs is still not understood, despite us campaigning for several years now. So these are some of the issues, but I thought we were going to talk around the pandemic, but not.
I was trying to bring that. I was going to try to bring that back and pull it together through the perspective. But please go ahead. This is fascinating.
Okay, so I just thought, talking about the global experience of the pandemic, we know that some of our countries have done better, performed better than some of the countries which are much worse and traditionally known as having higher advanced medical care. And so we've tried to understand why that happened. Why is it that countries like Bangladesh have managed the pandemic much better than what we saw happening in New York, for example? So I think one of the reasons is we still have a strong community-based care system. And that actually allowed for fewer hospital cases. On the other hand, we have also seen some disasters, and that has to do with unprecedented corruption in the health sector during the pandemic, because
I might even add that it's institutionalized to a large degree, and it's tolerated for reasons other than healthcare.
Didn't have a
But
choice,
since the bell has gone, and I don't want to lose this train of thought, what I did like, what I wanted to sort of feedback to the group for your last word comment is that please think about situations where it is not possible for simply technology or access or mitigation measures to do the trick, where you actually need primary health care in the flesh. So how are we going to address this question? The COVID
Can I just
episode.
make one other point?
Yeah,
about
can do.
COVID?
Please do.
Yeah, we also saw a scam around oxygen supply.
Oh, yeah.
So there are many commercial health facilities which took the opportunity to charge, astronomical rates for oxygen. So people were actually dying from paying medical bills as much as from COVID itself.
Literally.
So these are some of the issues that came up in
exactly. So, but this is exactly what the COVID pandemic showed us. In so many things it didn't show us, but what it did show us was that we had not been looking for alternatives hard enough, and that we were forced to, and some really innovative things came up because of this absence of tactile facility, and then that generated a whole new industry of opportunity, of innovation, and so on. So some of the examples that you saw are classic examples of how these existing mechanisms were able to create better coping mechanisms for the pandemic. But what you described is something we still have to grapple with, because this is the kind of TBAs, for instance, the traditional birth attendants, will never be replaced, and so on. But having said that, we're going to now take this whole conversation into much.
Well, not if international donors can have their way. They don't want TBAs.
We are going to put that on the next panel.
UNICEF.
I would love to hear for what you. The international donor agenda has to also be explored at some point in time. But we take one more kind of, we took sort of big view, then small view, and now we want to take a wider view, because health alone does not determine community well-being, or healthcare cover alone cannot mitigate a lot of the stuff that we talked about. It's about food, it's about energy, it's about collaborative structures that in being so that people get sick in the first place. So we have with us Enzo Curcio, who is the coordinator of the FAO on food. And these days, the biggest conversations we are having are around the water, energy, and food nexus. And what we've talked about is either a causality of a food, water, energy issue or a consequence of a food, water, energy issue. Oftentimes, I'm not overgeneralizing. So we'd like to hear from Mr. Curcio what you are doing in the context of providing new structural improvements, better economic models, and thereby generating much better future for humanity from your perspective. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We are in a family gathering, no? Also, Professor Yunus encouraged us to have a family discussion. And let me say that we face COVID-19 pandemic, the first stage of pandemic, when we facing the lockdown. Let's say it was, for me, was a opportunity to put in practice the social business idea of Professor Yunus. Previously in FAO, in my organization, I was a coordinator of Nobel Alliance, the founder was also Professor Yunus of this alliance. And during the first stage of pandemic, with a lot of colleagues, we start to understand how to face now in some countries affected by the war. We can assist country, FAO can assist country to go back from crisis, but we needed an emergency response and how to build a more food system. This was our first goal. So we, based on the social business approach, we wanted to create not only interventions in emergency by countries, by donors or by single countries, but we wanted to create a new approach that now many agencies can use, that is the multi-stakeholder approach. What does that mean? The multi-stakeholder approach is an alliance between countries, civil society, private sector, experts and expertise, so academia. And we wanted to experiment a platform of those multi-stakeholder approach with a global alliance during COVID-19. So FAO invested in this idea. Italy invested on this idea with 10 million euro. And we created the Food Coalition to act, accelerate, and respond to the global food crisis. We opened a call. Many countries responded to this call, more than 25 countries, and we invested in some interesting related to make the resiliency on food system. Principally, now we are following the building of a global network of farmer markets that for us was the first stage of improvement on food system transformation. Then we invested in education and also in school feeding in Latin America. And we invested also on the CFS voluntary guidelines, on the guidelines on nutrition, principally in some country like Laos, Bhutan, etc., that we requested and responded to the call that we launched in the G20. We built this kind of approach thanks to the social business, to Professor Yunus' ideas. And currently, let me say, we are facing a lot of proposals we have in many agencies of UN, not only FAO, and also I saw interesting projects that they are co-financed also by WFP, IFAD, all of the UN agencies that are connected with the food system, and they are connected with food and agriculture. I want to launch some proposal, but also to share some thoughts. The crisis that we are facing now is a crisis, yes, is an interrelated crisis, but is a crisis that have a solution, and this solution are a solution of the beginning. The key of solution is agriculture. The key of solution are farmers. If the power of farmers, and if we can make a new resilient agriculture, thanks to technologies, thanks to new tools, etc., we can reverse this crisis. Let me say, I don't want to add to 3.0, Professor Yunus 3.0, another zero hunger, because now we have to fight for zero hunger by 2030. Also, if the data that were published by FAO 1 week ago were very, very far from this goal. But let me say, if we can restart our challenge to relate a global intervention with social business idea on agriculture and farmers, we can make a new kind of revolution, a beginning revolution, because zero carbon emission, zero poverty is coming from the beginning. My family, it was a family farmers, but if we can look also the Prince Demerod family that we hosted during the last video, is a family that came from family farming. Everybody, all our origin is land and farmer. So I wants to launch an appeal from this gathering, this amazing family gathering, to look at the UN as a platform and look at the UN agencies principally related to food and agriculture as a place where a social business global alliance on farmers can be built. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, this is great because I was going to get busy taking selfies because this is getting interesting. Well, we are almost end of time here. Well, we are beyond. But I'd like to ask one last. And if you remember your briefing, it was going to end. So, okay, we'll make it 2, right? But let's do a quick one. But here's the question. We've heard all these very, very different sounding approaches, but there is a unifying factor here. The unifying factor is that we're all spending a lot of time, money, and effort, but not quite getting the kind of support or the kind of momentum that we want to see in healthcare and other things. In the work that we all do, what is that 1-2 thing, or what is that thought that you can contribute which will convert this frustration into actual satisfaction? We're doing a lot of things. Patients are spending money. The system is spending resources. But somehow we need to bring this all together into one coherent response for the future of humanity. So if you would like to share just one or two sentences, okay, two sentences, on how you see it from your vantage point that this can be done. I know Enzo's already covered that, but we'll still give you a couple of seconds. Okay, so shall we just start at the end and then wind this down? So Dr. Tanawan, would you like to go first? And then just keep down, got one sentence, the last word.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Faiz. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. So for my conclusion, I want to say like creating healthy campus community where wellness and innovative united. Yeah.
So it's going to be just focusing on your community, but making sure that everybody lives that well-being lifestyle. Yes, please, Moin.
Dr. Faiz, I would slightly deviate from what you asked because of the theme that we have today, like the war, peace, and economics and the future of human beings. I would urge not to destroy the hospitals to the conflict zones, because if you destroy it, you destroy humanity, you also destroy the facilities of the treatment. Let's not do it.
Thank you. Let's going. Yes, Mr. Haq.
I would like to go touch upon a different segment altogether, not supplementing to what others are saying. So related to eye, this is what you have rightly said, that the treatment of eye is relatively less expensive, and the level of awareness as the people is so poor. So I would like to state two numerics here. One is 80% of the blindness caused by the cataract, and 90% of the cataract can be removed if it is being treated in the right time, in the right way. So that's where the entire story lies. So if we do come up with a proper approach, we can come up with the proper level of awareness, and we can really get rid of this. Because the eye problem is always comes up with the silent killer. You do not get into the those kind of problems like heart or something like that. But once you discover these things in the last part of it, and you are in the point of almost in the point of no return kind of thing. So this is where I'd like to focus on these points that will really help to overall increase of the eye healthcare status of Bangladesh.
Right. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Let's keep going, Dr. Ashir.
Yeah, thank you. Still 50% of the world population do not have access to healthcare. So digital healthcare is coming. I think it will be a good opportunity. So I will urge everyone to digitize your own health records by yourself and then maintain it somewhere, wherever it is. Then it will be possible for the doctor to make a good clinical decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Haq, please.
I just want to make a couple of points. One is what you had asked earlier, and I forgot to elaborate, is the importance of the monitoring that we do at the health facility level. We take it there every 3 months, we present it in a dialogue with the local authorities. And one of the unwritten or unspoken rules that we observe is we don't go to press with it. It's not about shaming, it's about correcting.
Correct, yes.
So one of the things which is most difficult to correct is doctors' absenteeism.
Yeah.
So that is one that we are not
Great.
able to do, but we have managed to correct many other things.
I like this. Rather than shaming, it's empowering.
Yeah. And
Should
I
we
haven't
go
finished.
down to...
I've got 2 more points.
Really?
Yes.
Should we start the next panel?
No. Just that what is very important is a working referral system.
Yes.
So no matter what we do, if we don't have a working referral system, everything will crash.
I agree. And that's probably one of the biggest problems we have with some of our country programs. Enzo, last time. But this time I'm not going to give you my microphone. Should we just put this
Thank you. I just want to add something to my thoughts before. Next year, Italy will host G7 summit, and all of the UN agencies related to food, to the current food crisis, WFP, FAO, and IFAD, are called to assist technically the G7 on this kind of topic. So also G20 will happen next year too, but I would like that on the occasion of the G7, social business could be offered as a global solution for this kind of crisis. And maybe with the help of Professor Yunus, with the Yunus Center and all our family, we can make some proposal that can be effective at the highest level on the most developed country, that is also the most donors in UN, and also that they are the biggest responsibilities on some issues that we are facing.
Great. So I've got the one words from everybody. Tanawan says about focus. Focus on what you're doing. Moin says preservation. Sham says get to the fundamentals. Ashir says digitalization is the future. Ms. Haq says empower through dialogue. And you're saying reality is something we need to inculcate. I think those are great words to leave us with. Focus, preservation, fundamentals, digitalization, well, accountability with empowerment, dialogue, and responsibility. Well, I think we've taken a little bit more time than we should have because but it was important. We couldn't cut off these wonderful ideas. Panels like this should go on for a lot longer. But I'd like to thank this panel for making time succinct and meaningful. And I'd also like to say, as we close this panel, one of our speakers was not able to join us. Are we still going to have her video?
If you wanted to, we can. Did you want us to join?
It's not me wanting, it's just that do we have, shall we just put it on for tomorrow?
We'll put it off for tomorrow.
So with that, I think we're all excited for the next, whatever is, tomorrow is another lovely day. We'll see you all back here, but in closing the session, I'd like to thank the organizers and invite Prometheus back and end this panel with a great clap.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this incredibly insightful session. Panelists, please stay on stage. We'd request Professor Yunus to join the panelists for a photo opportunity, please. Huge round of applause for the panelists, please. Ladies and gentlemen, following the end of this session, working and tea break. We'll keep it fairly brief. I know everyone needs the shot of a caffeine. However, the session which follows after this is extremely critical because it's the country forums. So we'll go for a short 15-minute, 10-minute break. Grab your coffee, grab your refreshments and tea, and the country forums will commence from 5:45. This is your opportunity to get into a deep dive and to address unique challenges and social business innovations across the regions. The country forum locations for your benefit would be Bangladesh Country Forum being held in the Diwang Senang Hall. The Malaysia Country Forum, ladies and gentlemen, will be held here in the Grand Ballroom. India Country Forum is being held online. The Philippines Country Forum will be held in Senang Hall 3. The Greater China Country Forum being held in Senang Hall 5. The Nepal Country Forum being held in Pelangi Hall 1. The Thailand Country Forum being held in Senang Hall 4. Japan Country Forum in Shop 2. Africa Country Forum in Shop 5. And the European Country Forum in Penangi Hall 2. As you make your way out to the coffee area, you will see our volunteers and ushers with signage. Follow the important engagement quickly your way. Thank you, late stage. Presentation. Just see 7 finish your insightful discussion and be back for dinner, 7:30 p.m. Grill. See you all there. Have a great country forum and a great tree break. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.